it is known and spoken about a lot that, you know, women very often, they want physical encounters because actually they want to be kept safe and held in the arms, you know. So kind of what happens after the physical encounter, like the cuddling, but it's also on the masculine side a lot about that. They also need that a lot, and they don't know how to ask for that very often, and so they even often think, well, I have to perform, like I have to be the strong guy with a strong wand and perform like crazy, and then afterwards, you know, I get my cuddle, half an hour or whatever. And that's pretty sad, right? It's not, I mean, in our society, it's kind of not allowed still for the male community, kind of for the male people to show, you know, their weaknesses and stuff. And every single man I know who lives in family circumstances, they so much enjoy that, you know, just hanging out on the couch, especially, of course, after work, because at work they need to perform all the time. They need to show up strong. And then when they are home, they need so much the safety, which is the purpose, of course, of the divine feminine essence, to create the safety, to put all the roses over there. And yeah, and they need that, you know, they need the sensuality. And see, now we are here. And so these are kind of the two archetypes you totally shall embody, as well as always speak your truth, like always, like even harsh, right? Cutting. No, can you see? No cups over here on your side. Like this is how you help the divine masculine grow. And this is also how you help your soul mission grow, because you also do have this contract with your very self, with your higher self, with the divine within you. So that's also your own angelic contract, like your infinite, your, you know, your mission. This is also how you shall show up in your mission. We have the lion here, so it is about the leadership. See, it's like 3 times confirmed. Leadership. You need to be a leader. And this is internal energy, so it's about internally you hold your frequencies. It's towards you, towards yourself. You are totally standing in your truth and totally standing in your fire also, not in your water, not in your emotions, but in your willpower, in your purpose. So this is someone who has fully stepped into purpose, and only because you have done that, the new contract has opened it. So please don't get the old archetype of the Queen of Cups ready, right? When they come and like, oh, I'm so sorry, and oh, I don't feel good. They don't need a Queen of Cups over here. Oh, no. Though you can see the woundings, but what they need, and what they always would have needed, is a mother who holds their ground and who is strong in herself and who says clearly yes and no. And they probably didn't have that, because divine masculines are very often strong, even as children. And, you know, they are not the tamed ones. And also we spoke earlier a lot about this toxic mother energy, which just feeds this domineering energy. And you know, we do have the Italy Catholic Church Roman Empire, and there it is, of course, you know, the male is the domineering person. It's a lot about dominance, and so I feel their dominant self was kind of wanted and called forward in their environment, and now they need to learn that there is a difference between dominance and sovereignty. Dominance isn't sovereignty. Ha! Now we are at the core. I love that. And you understand now, finally, what I mean, right? Dominance isn't sovereignty. And you show up as a sovereign being, though they thought you are weaker because you showed up as the Queen of Cups. Ha! And the Queen of Cups, they would say, well, you know, I'm the dominant one. I'm strong, I'm in control, I can control my emotions, I can control my need, I can even suppress my needs. So, but you can't, because you're just a woman and you're such a sweetheart, and so you're kind of an easy target and I can do whatever I want. But you have shown a light on that. And also not only you, but something has awakened here. Some strong memories maybe. Maybe they had some spiritual downloads. Maybe they have insights coming through because Nathaniel moved here. Insights about, yeah, you're called, you have a purpose. So they feel that, right? They feel the calling. And what they now need to step into is their sovereignty. Sovereignty, right? So, and get out of this energy. This is what we want to release. We want to align and work with our body. So what you can do to totally strengthen is healthy body work, where you feel just super good in your body. Like tune in your essence and tune into your fire. Like do your passion projects. Even if, you know, you are not at the place where you would do that for work or whatever, but then you do that in private. It's just totally do yourself. And even at work we can show up like that, right? There is always a way to be a little bit more authentic and to be a little bit more sovereign and to speak our truth. I mean, of course, everyone has to keep themselves safe. That's clear, but still, you know what I mean. So sovereignty is the goal, and being, and this is a thing, if you have been wounded in your feminine body, you need to do a little bit of healing there maybe, right, with the body. Like do some dancing, salsa, something which really involves the hip area, okay? Listen just a little bit to Latin music or something like that. That's super, super releasing for stuck emotions. And we do have the release here, so it's super important for you. Okay, and then showing up here. Also, remember we had the Celtic warrior. That's so much about the perseverance and being in tune. And again, we do have all this natural energy with the flower, with the wood, with the black cat, and yeah. And, you know, they operated like guerrilla warriors, literally, then. And the druids, the Celtic druids, they were masters and never to find, right? They just became one with their surroundings. And that's also, again, with this energy, that's your superpower. You are one with nature. You are one with the elements. We do have earth here, we do have fire here, and of course we do have the Queen of Cups at the beginning. So we do have water, and we do have this water card here, this beautiful water card, like you are powerful. And of course we also do have air, so you do have all 4 elements, and you work with that. So she goes over there, and she holds the contract, right? There's the justice here, sealed. And the underworld is sealed. So, and that's the truth. And the Celtic culture is supporting you. There are some ancestors. As well as I heard Egyptian, but you have to just take what resonates for yourself, of course, right? And you feel that because these things would come up like multiple times, confirming, and you also would feel called and drawn to look up, like randomly look history things up, or if you have maybe a number code which would be like a century or an age, or something comes through in a movie, then you would just feel called to look it up. And if it resonates, you just feel that if it makes you emotional. So if you have a strong emotional reaction, you always know this is part of my story. It must not be that very person, you know, in the history book, that very name, but the storyline, that's yours, okay? So they want to have it like that. I like it. What are we supposed to do now? So they took me towards this deck again. Let's see what happens. We take what I wanted to say we take what's flying out, but that's too many. So let me see, what are we supposed, which one do you want to have from these? This one. Okay. Oh yes. That makes sense. So please feel free to blossom to your fullest capacity. I love seeing you grow. And that's literally a message I felt because it kind of came from above here. This is higher self of your person, right? Higher self. Yeah. And you know, they are growing, but you are growing too. That's the same what I mentioned before with when I worked with teenagers, right? I made sure that I'm growing too. And I don't even know if I have finished the story totally, but I always like picked something for myself which would elevate myself before I gave someone else then extra support, so that it was them growing, yes, but it was also me growing. Like, for example, I don't know, I fixed something at my home. You know, we do have all those little things which lay around and we never do because the extra time isn't there, or the extra energy. But then we take extra energy to pour into other people. That makes no sense, actually. So I kind of made it my rule, before I do extra for someone else, I pour some extra into myself, which is always a little bit hard to do. And we kind of tend to wait until someone else does that for us or, you know, supports us. But that's King of Pentacles energy. That's why it is on our side here also. And we need to live that energy towards ourselves. That's one of the biggest messages here, how we can enhance and really strengthen the energy to the best, right? So standing in the sovereignty and doing like this, please feel free to blossom to your fullest capacity. I love seeing you grow. That's a message from your divine counterpart. They want that, right? They want to see you shine. They love your light, and your light is linked to them, right? And your light is that very moon. So shine bright, you know, they need to see their way. Shine bright. They are They are walking through their darkness right now. They are walking through their ashes. They are in the phoenix season. So they are in the, after tower, in the ashes, in the darkness, in the dark night of the soul, totally. Can you see that? And you're their light. So shine bright. And it's not like, oh, pouring in, right? But it's just shining light, and it's higher light, like really higher consciousness, elevated, okay? Which means detached. As I said, how I worked with these teenagers, they were all super sweet and all super pure, and they were all super in need, totally valid, but still I had to learn, and I did, to, in a way, have this strong boundary and put myself first. And like, okay, so we as a collective do for ourselves. And because of that, I wasn't depleted, though I was kind of, in the position like a social worker then. I mean, I was more a coach and a project manager, but still, most of my colleagues, they get depleted. And it was a whole networking thing. And my class, they were the most successful because I encouraged self-development and I encouraged this personal growth, like as the first thing for right now. And that's the only way it goes. And the other people, they just were focusing on helping, supporting, and finding the right boxes to put them in, right? And that's not what is sustainable then, later, then, because then they are still the same dependent person. And we do want to allow people to grow. That's important. And we also have two other here. Now that I know you, I can't even imagine a world without you anymore. Oh, that's so sweet. Wow, that's totally sweet. That's like a super love message, I feel. Now that I know you, I can't even imagine a world without you anymore. Yeah, I can understand that, because look again at their world. Their world. Right? Their world. See? But they are transforming. And with that feather also, it's about, in the moon card, how it's with black and white, and they need to sort out, and they understand, yeah, there is a light side in me too. I'm not all black. I'm not all dark. I'm not all the darkness. No, I do have light in me too. And when I find my light, I will get crowned. My crown also, will get elevated. I do have a purpose. I can feel that now. But they see it and feel it through you. And having the grace to know you, right? That's, see? Whew. Yeah. That's where they are walking towards, actually. See? They are going there. So, and this is, this is that card. I was just thinking, maybe now something wants to go on that. Yes, it wants. And it's 717 right now. So listen. First, I learned not to cry. Then I learned to forget my needs. That's that. This programming causes this. Okay? And, yes, be compassionate for a minute. Yes, we have to acknowledge they really have been through it, right? But still, it's your job to hold your own truth and to not, to have still, they need to build up their willpower and their strength and their cup and their love. And there is a lot to do because it needs to be mutual. It needs to. But let me read that again. First, I learned not to cry, to kind of exclude my emotional body, right? To cut it off, to cut off source, to disconnect. And then I learned to forget my needs, which means disconnecting from the body as well. And that's why they are only mind, only control. That's how control issues, so-called control issues and so-called avoidant, even happens, right? It's not because someone is a bad person. No, no, no. And that's how you can forgive. See the child. See the child that is trained and programmed like that. It's like a little warrior. You know, on Sparta, for example, in Greek, ancient Greek, Sparta, that was the warrior island. And they, you know how they grew their warriors? They put all boys together, took them away from their families from a very, very young age, like immediately. They fed them with blood soup to get them more aggressive. And they put up rules which would reward the most aggressive one, so that they learned to treat each other like SHT, like really badly. And that's how they built the strongest warrior back then in ancient Greece on Sparta. That's how it goes. So you can, of course, beat humanity out of a human. You can do that. And these days there are other methods to do that. And then, you know, if you have people disconnected, then you can offer substitutes like PORN, like unhealthy food which isn't home cooked but filled with things we rather wouldn't like to have in our body. And of course, you know, control replaces emotional connection. I mean, control is what is happening if connection is lost. Because that's like a blind one tapping. If connection is lost, then you are literally like tapping in the dark and you can't see where to go. And then you feel the need to control situations, because otherwise you cannot orientate yourself. You cannot navigate through the darkness. Now I'm called to read the angel in action card here from them. I don't know why. So guys, I love to see that the table, I mean the focus has shifted itself a little bit while I was having a little break. I was called to take magnesia, which is magnetic, which is important for the feminine essence. I also saw the devil card very quickly during the break, which is related to how they are called to action right now. They understand now. You know, they have seen their demons. That's what they are leaving behind. They are aware of that. Maybe you told them. And yeah, but we are shifting out of the underworld energy and we have more of the elevated outcome energy on the table now. That's nice. So we are coming closer to the end of the session. And I do want to mention again, Queen of Wands energy. Yes, that's fire, but all queens are water anyways, right? So it's fire in the water. And that's what you really need to hold all the time. Like hold your flame, your torch. You are here to hold the torch, right? That's your divine mission. And yeah, grow it, because light is needed for the transformation, what is happening. So that's your job. And your job is to set the standards, but also to come with equality and see and understand and be open that their journey and their path is valid too, and it's not less than, it's not lower than. They have their own set of demons, but in the higher chakras there are other demons like you know, we call it satanic if it's more going towards the darker side and putting the darker side above, and we call it Luciferian if it's more, you know, false light energy, like love and light only. We spoke about that, toxic love. It's demonic too, right? It's a means for the devil too. So please don't, right? Please don't retreat in arrogance. And we do not have a Queen of Swords here. We do have a very confident but healed open archetype here. So the full body is healed, and we are encouraged to constantly work on body healing, earth energy, right? Actively. That's where you should put your action in, because kings are active, right? This is internal, so it's important to internally hold the flame, like shine a light on your emotional body even, because queens are water. So it is about the internal realm. It is about the realm you want to create for the world then. That's your purpose work. Create that emotional bubble, right? You literally create your own plane. Through the light, right? Through the connection. But this is the internal flame, sovereignty. It's not something outside of you. And this is misunderstood with witchcraft too, because this archetype can stand for the witch archetype. And this is what's feared, of course, and this is why they are shamed and badmouthed and shunned and whatever, because they work with internal flame energy, similar to an alchemist. And they work also with all what is around. It's just being tuned in to the energy and then work with the energy. Okay, now we read Angels in Action. This is kind of a long angel message for the divine masculine side. It says, treat everyone you meet with love. They may be angels in disguise. Isn't that beautiful? So they found out that you're an angel in disguise. And they are like, oops, I didn't treat them correctly. Oops, remember we had here the oops, accidentally, I unalived a divine connection. Accidentally, I guess I made a mistake, right? Quite frankly. So yeah, you did. And now you want to realize that, resurrect that. Phoenix rising, judgment, right? Yeah, do the contract justice. And the new contract is already written. You signed it, like in the higher ups. So, angels and ascended masters are able to manifest in different forms. Very often the guise chosen is not what you would expect. Remember that angels are non-denominational, and the pictures we may have of blonde, blue-eyed angels are our own imagination too. And we do have that with starseeds too. You know how the Pleiades always are, shown like these blonde, blue-eyed beings. Because on Earth, that's the closest we can get to the light with an imagination. They just look light, right? I have heard of angels appearing as beggars, blind old men, little old ladies, tall Rastafarians, even angels, angelic truck drivers, of course. Angels are always around to help us when we really need them. But do we always feel the same way? By treating everyone as you like to be treated, by showing kindness at others, at every opportunity, by showing kindness at every opportunity, you too are spreading unconditional angelic love in action. So this goes both ways. So this goes like they understood that they are surrounded by angels and that they are also, I want to say, tested by the divine and undergoing, you know, spiritual processes, because they have the card here of Raziel, which is about the spiritual, the mysterious of God. They might not read tarot, right? But they are kind of feeling the mysteries of the divine, the arcanas. But it also is a reminder for us to see, yeah, they have in their position, they also were fighting demons. So honor their path, I want to say again. Honor that. Honor the path they chose, right? Honor that. And I totally do believe that, you know, I mean, we see that all the time, like every sin can be redeemed. That's just a path we choose. And the strongest angelic presence we hold in the higher realms, the hardest path we would choose. Because up there we think, well, that's easy. I can handle that. And then you are down here and you're like, oops, a little bit more heavy from the human perspective though. A little bit more difficult than I thought from up there, where I'm not attached to my emotions, right? Where I can see everything from the higher perspective. Down here, it's, yeah, a little bit difficult. So you do have angelic connections. I want to read that too now. And then we finally move on there to the higher realms, where we also have 2 angel cards and 3 Aura-Soma cards. And I don't know if we shall draw some more cards. I have no idea yet. So, ooh, it's kind of the same. Wow. If you see the angel in everyone you meet, you will always be in divine company. Wow, now let me read their first sentence again. They say, treat everyone you meet with love. They may be angels in disguise. And you have, if you see the angel in everyone you meet, you will always be in divine company. That's so great. Wow. Cool. Really cool. So see how you are very similar in a way. If our souls are everlasting through many lifetimes, and if we wait in a heavenly place until our rebirth, then we spend most of that time among the angelic realms. Following this thought, perhaps, and you know, from that place we have the forgiveness. We spoke about that. From that place we have life reviews, actually, where we go through the experiences. And in a life review, you know what we do there? We do not just watch the movie we played on Earth, but we also are forced, and we want to, of course we want to because we want to grow, we tune into the people we interacted with and the emotions we put them through. Like we feel the karma, like afterlife, in between lives, we always feel the karma. We understand that. We understand then what went wrong. Immediately we see it from the higher perspective. We see immediately where we lost the line a little bit. And then we deliberately put on our plate, you know, these things to really work through that again, maybe, right? And again, and gain the full awareness and release. And yeah, we spoke about that process a lot with all the 10 quilts here. So back to the card. Following this thought, perhaps what we see in meditation is a memory. A part of us knows that angelic presence, and a spark of it remains in our hearts for all time. When we are born, part of our soul, the egoless, non-physical part, remains in the heavenly place. Yeah, and that's the biggest part. I mean, the eternal being, that's just huge. It stretches through all dimensions. And the little piece which is projected on earth, that's just a very tiny, portion of you. And in the divine connection also, that is how we awaken ourselves, because through the other, we connect through the huge, rest of us, through actually the huge being in the heavens and the eternal being, right? We see that in the other's eyes, we feel that in the core frequency, and with pouring in core frequency, vice versa, like being connected to that and exchanging this, as the actual flame energy all the time. And this happens like all the time in these connections. It just flows, just like the emotional body also flows, and we work through their emotions and they work through our emotions, and it gets all poured back and forth, and we kind of share experience. So it is kind of a super cool trick kind of for advanced souls also to come in two bodies, and then you can make like the double effect, right? Because one goes through this experience, the other goes through that experience, and then you meet up and you share. And then you have and you share like fully with what I just told you, with feeling it through, feeling through their lens, feeling through their perspective. And they also feel through your perspective, feel through your experiences. And then you have the double experiences and double strength and double everything. And then you can, that's the double mission. Then you can work with that. And with that material, with that huge essence. And so, yeah, you can work out really a lot then. So the higher self is wiser and purer than our bodily form and has no material attachment. It is possible to connect and ask our higher self for guidance. When we tap into that wisdom, we can also connect with the angel within us. Next time you meet, notice the difference in the energy of your interaction when you allow the angel within to connect with another at a deep soul level. See, and that's why we do all these spiritual work. For example, if you do a yoga session, it's not like, going to the gym and bam, bam, bam. No, first you go inward and you have this namaste moment, also in martial arts, of course, and you connect inwardly with the light. And that gets, your true self uploaded, I want to say, like online. Yeah, so that's how you can reconnect with your light. You see all the light here, right? And here's quite more darkness still, but they're coming. Can we see the phoenix here? Here, wants to be here. Raziel. Raziel is helping. There's the phoenix coming. Okay. Angels. So now you see it better. So I want to say, repeat the last sentence. Next time you meet, notice the difference in the energy of your interaction when you allow the angel within to connect with another at a deep soul level. So always focus on that. Always focus on connecting with their light and not connecting with their shadow, not connecting with their 555, with their persona, right? With their mask, the mask they wear. No, no, no. You are their angelic connection, right? And so that's just how you shall do that. I mean, what can I say? So, and we are restoring still a little bit life force, that's important. And also with the material, I wanted to say here, no material attachments, yes, but that does not mean that source and energy and matter is not meant to stream through your body. Of course it is, right? Of course it is. And you can handle that. You can handle huge amounts of income because you have the willpower to direct it how it's meant to direct. And now I have a throat chakra block. See, it's so necessary because spiritual work comes with all these poverty vows and with we have no needs, and we suppress that, right? We had that very much here. Let me read that again. First I learned not to cry, then I learned to forget my needs. Ooh, that's a shadow, right? On the divine masculine side. So that's a shadow also for our work. Divine masculine is what we do. So purpose work. So you do have needs. I spoke about that a lot. You do have to value your needs, like value your needs, not acknowledge your needs, but value your needs. I channeled that like that right now. It came out of my mouth. You have to value your needs. They are showing me the sun card. Value the need to pour into yourself. The sun is the self again, solar plexus. That's an ace of pentacles. That's the pentacle. Pour into self. That's what you need to do. And the pentacles, they come from the higher realms. They come as a purpose. And now they are saying, take another card of my manifestation deck, Sacred Seeds. You can buy that. It's the first I created, and I'm working on a bunch of decks right now. And this is super helpful to just get guidance for, I mean, we already know, you know, sovereignty, self-confidence, and blah, blah, blah. But maybe there are some little other methods. Here's something coming out, but this one, okay. Ooh, that's nice. This one, this is big. Like, this is really a Phoenix rising moment. So this is big. When I did this artwork, I was moving home and I literally manifested a new house. And yeah, and with dragon energy. So it was very, very powerful. It was a very powerful move. And it was right after my 10 of Quartz moment where I was nearly blind and it was nearly impossible to move. So it was absolutely the dragons and the elementals getting me out there. Like, I was freed, like, from the higher. It was absolutely divine intervention. If I have ever, I mean, I have seen a lot of divine intervention in my life, but this was a really, really big moment. So let me read that as a general message. Open passage. Yeah, that was really what was created. And I couldn't do that with my own power, but it was created. It was created from the higher realms, an open passage. So that's what we are talking about here in this whole session, I feel. The dragons have awakened and they are clearing your way. Trust your destiny. Trust the flame. And make bold moves towards the future. Wow. If we needed some more confirmation, there we go. That's what you need to do. A bold moves, little angel, towards the future. The sun, Ace of Pentacles, like you have to show yourself commitment, show your purpose commitment, because, ooh, where is the Lover's card? Can we have that? No, they say we have something else. We have that. Okay. Yes. So also internally, of course, pouring into self. You can do bold moves towards yourself too, right? It must not be a bold move towards the outward world, because outward, that's always just a reflection of our inner world. You know that. And this speaks about the soul contract renewed. We have the Justice card underneath here, and we spoke a lot about how this is. And now, interestingly, this needs to go on this side, because this is healing. And remember the story I told, how I would treat myself every time I needed to treat, to give to someone else. So if you sit over here and expect princess treatment from this wounded warrior, you're not at the right place here. You have to understand that they are going through a totally burned down phoenix moment. And the first thing they need to know and to learn and to understand is how to grow their own divine feminine energy. And they need to literally inwardly grow their pentacles before they have energy in their hand to give, to share, to give with the world. And that's also what we do with our purpose work, right? We share what we've been through ourselves. We share our own experiences, multiples. And that's a purpose, that's a calling, right? Like sharing your testimonies, sharing divine justice, sharing your story. That's important, they say. Other people need the encouragement. But this is important also because of the nervous system. So she is totally wrapped into nature, and it's a beautiful energy. It's earth and water together, so it's super safe. It's fertile ground. Wow, fertile ground. I said that. They need to do that. They need to dig their soil and create fertile ground. See, now we are in that energy. Now they are creating fertile ground. It would be interesting with these sections of the message here I'm uploading bit by bit, how that resonates, you know, within your story maybe. Like now they are literally next stage here. They are growing their soil. And it's that very soil where you can then build on, you know. And this is the soul contract. This is the water. This is the bond you share, and it's renewed. And it will go from the 6 to the 10, of course it will. But you are also called to go slow. And the 6 is the maturity number. It's the angelic, it's really the number for earth angels, for angelic presence on earth. That's the number 6 speaking about. It's being the elder, it's being the divine mother, being the divine father, being the coach, being the mentor, being, you know, the supportive source for others. And pouring from your ascended soul. Beautiful, beautiful. So, shall we read that again? I feel like. The dragons have awakened. And they are clearing your way. Trust your destiny. Like, trust your destiny. Trust the flame, which is the divine masculine, but it's within you, and you hold the flame, and you can hold your boundaries, so you do have not to have any fear that anything bad may repeat itself, because the cycles where you weren't aware of all the demons, right? These cycles are over, closed out. You have learned from that. So now it's, and that's also with the King of Pentacles, what I was told to mention, totally. It's not that you need to wait for someone else to do right upon you, because you can protect yourself like perfectly, and your boundaries are showing just in your energy. So no one even, you know, of course people might try, but they won't get far with that, right? Because you totally can hold your ground now, totally. And you even can build your own ground, or create, I mean, co-create with heaven, actually, with the divine. And dragon energy, of course, you know, Sophionic energy, divine feminine essence, wisdom, field energy, co-creating with the field. And feather just moved with my breath. Yes, it's this alignment, you know, this alignment towards the future. Like, yes, believe. And they need to do that too, like believe in their future. And they do, they do. But first step is really they need to grow their pentacle of self-love. This is taking care of themselves. This is healthy eating. This is healthy body care. This is healthy not overworking. This is healthy not showing off. This is healthy really, really detaching, like slowly but surely, from all ego false masks and showing up as the true you, the inner needs. Especially it speaks about the needs. What did I said? Like, value your needs. Yes, acknowledge that needs are valuable, like human needs are valuable. Show that through your purpose. Show the world that you value the humanness around us, the needs around us. And show yourself, like, constantly how you value your physical vessel, because it's the temple of the soul. And that supports the divine masculine flame over here, right? That supports your counterpart. Ooh, it even moved more. I love that. So now I will dig the higher realms out there. Ooh, interesting. We do have the orchestration here still. So yeah, maybe I shall show you now the astrology of right now, when I'm recording, and when, you know, the divine orchestration, literally. It's super cool. It's super nice. So where do I have a picture?